He was so poor. Thank God he was born a man. He had something to play with.
Yeah, if I was a little boy, I wouldn't. If I wasn't a little boy, I wouldn't have nothing to play with.
All manner of celebrity and national icons have, at some point in time or the other, reached out to wider Trinidad and Tobago for assistance during hard times, difficult moments, and basically sometimes when the money dries up and, as we say in local parlance, water more than flour. But none have received the warmth, the love, the generosity, the kindness of the people of Trinidad and Tobago than the gentleman that I am about to introduce you to. He is so many things, too many things to mention in just this mere opening. So without any further ado, we welcome to Trini Inspiration, episode number 8, a national icon and, dare I say, an unsung hero of Trinidad and Tobago, and an ultimate Trinbagonian hero, my hero. Please welcome Uncle Errol Fabien.
Good to be here, Fuzzy.
Uncle
That's
Errol.
some big shoes you put in for me there to put on, Fuzzy.
I'm happy to see you in the studio. Happy to see you smiling. I'm happy to see you still have hair on your head.
Though little, but it's here. But I am overjoyed to be here, really. It is a more than an honor for me to be here with you in this setup and knowing what it's going to do and all that you'll create out of this space.
Thank you, Uncle Errol.
Yeah,
to hear that from you, I am humbled. But I don't want any of the attention today because I want all focus to be on you. Uncle Errol, you sent up a flare on the 1st of October that you needed help, that Gayelle needed help.
Yeah.
And in a matter of mere hours, you were able to register just under 60,000 US dollars in donations from the kindness and goodness of the hearts of everyday regular Trinbagonians who contributed to your GoFundMe.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, I wish I could, but it is so amazing, Fazir, and so humbling and so surreal almost, because I didn't visit myself. My children visited the GoFundMe afterwards, and it's really ordinary people. It's $20 that make up that 60,000, or 20, out 50 and 100 and so on. But people say, nah, boy, Uncle Errol, take her something. I had to put her something in that. And so many people networked, I'm finding out. Because like my children would have sent to their friends. Naprima girls have that, did it. NAPS, the Naprima Association of Past Students, NAPS boys did. Teachers, schools where I may have visited. A lot of people like kind of activated the network. People who I would have done something with or for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years ago. I mean, people call me who, I'm not even sure who it is. They say, no, but you came to our school in 19 whenever, and you talk to the children and listen, you don't understand what you did, so where do we send the money? How do we do it? And the phone never stopped ringing. I got over 1,000 WhatsApp messages on that day. And it took me days to clear it because 1,000 more came and 1,000 more came. I don't know what happened. I am just eternally grateful and thankful for what happened.
I remembered my social media timeline being littered with the Help Uncle Errol slogan. And it's almost as though Trinidad and Tobago and every Trinbagonian who was on a social platform, they were all canvassing. They were all petitioning. They were all soliciting for and on behalf of Uncle Errol. Yeah. And I feel like even even some people who didn't know Uncle Errol, as in all the different elements of
Yeah.
Uncle Errol that there is to know, even these people, they could sense that there was something different. There was something special. So I need to share this. I wouldn't share the barbecue fundraisers for other things. I wouldn't share the cancer GoFundMes and all the other things, but there was something about this that was different. And that leads me into why I have asked you to be on the show, Uncle Errol. I didn't ask you here today, in all honesty, to ask you too many questions. I asked you here, Uncle Errol, because I have asked myself the question, why Errol Fabien? And I've tried to explain this to a few people. Why Errol Fabien? Why did people react like this to Errol Fabien? Why have they never reacted like this to anybody else before? And that's because Uncle Errol has a very special place in my heart and in the heart of almost every other Trinbagonian who you have touched directly or indirectly, and many who you have touched but don't even know. I would like to submit some reasons. As to why I think Uncle Errol received the love from Trinidad and Tobago that he did. And the first is that Uncle Errol has always been a storyteller. And not just any storyteller, but a storyteller who tells my story, who tells your story. A storyteller who has allowed us over the years, when we were never represented before, to see ourselves and to hear stories of ourselves, to see ourselves on TV and to hear ourselves on radio and to hear ourselves on live stage and in theater and in movies and everywhere else that you went. You've been telling stories all your life, beginning in school and beginning with your childhood. Tell us a little bit about your life as a storyteller, Uncle Errol.
Wow. I do that. You know, I do that. I love to tell a story. I really, really love telling stories. And I have told stories, like you said in school. I remember in school, right, when we have a free period, and any teacher come to supervise and ask, what do you want to do? It was like a spontaneous combustion. Let Fabian give jokes. let Fabian come. Let Fabian do it. And I was always in front of the class, you know, wielding and weaving stories and telling them stories. And at the time, it was things my father would tell me or told me. And I left school and I ended up in this thing on the very first year of its existence called the Talk Tent. And it's stories from my father I told there. And it was insane. I got an anchor. You know, anchor comedians, what's that? You know? Yeah. I got an anchor in the Talk Tent. And I always used to listen to Dave Elcock on the radio, and next thing I know, there's this opportunity for me to have a morning talk show, you know. And I mean, Fazir, was lost as a teenager. And I knew I was loved at home, but I never had a sense of it. I come from, I'm number 6 of 9, and number 6 and 9 don't really exist. You're there, but yeah. And at Naparima College, all my brothers went to presentation, I went to Naparima. At Naparima College, I found something. A group of young men who had a sense of themselves, and they were drummers and actors and writers, and I mean, and dancers and all kind of thing. And wow, I get so carried away with that. I didn't study book in school. And so telling stories and embracing all of the things that go with stage rescued me. So it became such a part of me that it's what I do naturally, you know. So I'm still here. I am telling you another story.
Uncle Errol has been telling stories long before the term storyteller was coined, because that's a very trending term these days, storytellers for digital platforms. But Uncle Errol has been telling stories since the days when stories only existed in analog. One of the other reasons I would like to put forward to answer the question, why Errol Fabien, is because Uncle Errol is a dreamer. I remember Uncle Errol talking about going to the movies, going to the cinema, and being there and seeing the action on screen. And not just enjoying the action on screen, but wanting to see himself on screen?
Yeah, always. I went back to Gonzales Village, Guapos, years ago. I remember, and this guy, tall, say, "Hey, Errol, how you going?" Very loud guy. "How you going? You going by? Come down." I remember you used to let me sitting down by yourself under that mango tree. What you used to be thinking about, boy? And I know I was dreaming. I was always dreaming. Even my introduction to smoking cigarettes, which I wanted to do so bad, I used to get these little Zutan thing and run in the bush and hide to smoke it. And let me tell you, when I do, it would be like this guy on this hat and this suit, and I know it's like this movie I used to be in, because I used to feel it was a big man thing now.
Yeah.
And I've always had that kind of an imagination, and I always dreamed. I remember, Fazir, when we first put Sprangalang on TV, and TTT had a problem with it. And Christopher and they were very resolute. They were, we're going to do this, and we're going to package this and keep this and so on. And I was thinking, we should have our own TV station. You know, and that would have been like a joke then, because how could we possibly have our own TV station? But I lived to the day to see when Christopher and I were partners, because he was my boss at the time, were partners opening a television station.
And to put that dream in context, let me let you know that Uncle Errol dreamed to be on the screen at a time when he was so poor. How poor? To borrow his own words, I'll tell you. He was so poor. Thank God he was born a man. He had something to play with.
Yeah, if I was a little boy, I wouldn't. If I wasn't a little boy, I wouldn't have nothing to play with. Yeah.
Uncle Errol, you mentioned Sprangalang.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered you telling that story. And I remembered, correct me if I'm wrong, that being really your spark to dream about television. Because when they said to get that monkey off the station, off the screen, that monkey that they were talking about was all of us.
That's right.
That's what we all look like. Is that what they really thought about us?
That's
and
what
this
communicated.
is what spurred you to dream, and to dream big, and you've never stopped dreaming.
No.
Gayelle was a dream.
Yes, it was. It really, really was. It was an idea on a piece of paper in 1994 when I worked at Hernandez FCB, and it was something that I wanted to pitch for Republic Bank. We had just completed the campaign for We're the One, Republic. They still use that campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about leasing Channel 1 on cable, because the cable channels had just become amalgamated, and to lease Channel 1, have financial stuff on in the day, and content from Banyan in the night, and we'll make some more content and thing. You know, that was the start of this sense of a Gayelle as a station 24/7. And I've always been consumed with television. I used to go, when the first TV came to my village, we didn't have it. I used to go by Miss Thomas and them and sit on the front step and look around the door to see this thing, because it was so amazing. And I mean, technology wasn't even a word, you know, so this thing was, we used to gather as a family to listen to Auntie Kay. And in my ignorance, I thought the people was inside there. Because, I mean, you had to think, understand the era, all these things that we take for granted now, technology and things, had none of that. And in my mind, everybody was down inside this little box, and it was so amazing. And then I see them in this thing. How they could get people inside of that? How they could get buildings and horses, that so many horses on TV. How they get the horses in there? And, you know, I was consumed with television all my life.
We're answering the question, why Errol Fabien? And we've already said, we've put forward a couple answers. 1, Errol Fabien as storyteller. 2, Errol Fabien as dreamer. And 3, Errol Fabien as hero. And here's the context. Uncle Errol has always been very straightforward, honest, and humble about his struggles with drugs and substance abuse. In fact, how many times he has introduced himself and still continues to introduce himself as a recovering drug addict. even though it's been 32 plus years now since he has been, thankfully, drug-free. But Uncle Errol's fall into that abyss of drugs and substance abuse is surpassed only by his rise out of it to become the man that he has been over his lifetime, the last 32 years in particular, since, and to achieve the things and to inspire the people in the way that he has over those years. Hero, and the title of hero, Uncle Errol.
I am no hero.
You're very much a hero. Because people would not have responded to you if they didn't see you as a hero. And Uncle Errol, I want to buff you just a little bit and tell you, you have always said that, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Everything is as we perceive it. You are not registering in your mind as yet because of your humility that you are a hero. But all the people who contributed that 60,000 US and so many more who didn't get a chance to contribute, because by the time the thing was asked for, the thing was done. All those people, Uncle Errol, see you as a hero. Hero. You've told your story so many times, Uncle Errol, of how you struggled with addiction and your road to recovery. And I'm not going to ask you to tell that story all over again. But as a hero, and as the hero to the thousands of Trinbagonians looking on, what would you say to everybody who sees you as that hero and looking on at the show right now?
That I'm no more of a hero than you are, and what is in me is in you, and we just need to, if I'm a hero, Fazir, my cape and my superpower is love. That's it.
Uncle Errol, why Errol Fabien? Because Errol Fabien has inspired us over the years. I remembered when I first walked through the doors at Gayelle, the channel, back then on
Eastern Main
the
Road.
Eastern Main
Western
Road,
Main Road.
Western Main Road in St. James. I remembered when I first walked through the door, I didn't know much about Uncle Errol other than he was a recovering drug addict, and I'd heard his story told a few times before that. So I knew that he was an inspiration in that regard as a recovering addict. What I didn't know was how he was an inspiration, especially so to other youngsters. I would walk through the upstairs and downstairs of that TV station, and in every corner you'd hear them whispering about the boss, you'd hear them whispering about Uncle Errol, and I kid you not when I say that I've never to this day heard anybody speak anything ill or negative of Uncle Errol Fabien inside that studio at Gayelle. As a matter of fact, if they were smoking, they would out the cigarettes. They would go and try to get rid of the scent because they can't let down. Not that they're afraid they get buff, you know, but they can't let down Uncle Errol. I've heard the stories in the studio of Gayelle of Uncle Errol taking a gamble on somebody, this person just looking for a break, looking for a blight. And just the same way he was blessed with opportunity and chances, he continued to be a blessing and to give those opportunities and chances to so many other youngsters. Uncle Errol, you've always been blessed with chances and second chances and third chances and fourth chances and many other opportunities. But you yourself have been an inspiration to others because you have given others so many more chances.
Well, I have a sense, Fazir, that I owe this to you all. I mean, I wasn't always reaching down to help people. I was reaching up for help a lot of times in my life. And there were hands there to help pull me up, or to at least be there for me to try and pull myself up. So, God go vex with me, boy, if I not keeping my hand there for who want to climb up, or if I have the opportunity to share and empower and help and enrich the lives of another human being, and I don't do it, God will vex with me. I can't take God vex with me, you know. I don't want God vex with me at all, boy. So I have to, but it's even it's that is a big thing, but inside there is a sense that our region and our country needs a cadre of people who are concerned with building it and improving it. You know, not just building and improving our own situations personally, but building and improving our regional and national situations. Because if we're not there for each other, you know, somebody could buy Trinidad. If you look at our economy, it have men, it have individuals in the world with pockets so deep, they could pay off Trinidad entire debt wherever it is and buy the country. And that's the risk a lot of developing countries are facing today, where they broken to break open, you know. So my sense is that we just need to be there for each other, and I don't like to just talk the talk, as have to do it too.
Uncle Errol is many things, and these many different hats that he would have worn over the course of his lifetime would have been the reasons, or some of the reasons at least, why he would have received that outpouring of love that none other before him was able to receive. Storyteller, dreamer, hero, inspiration. My favorite one of all, patriot. I have never heard anyone speak of Trinidad and Tobago and believe in Trinidad and Tobago the way that this man here believes in the red, white, and black, not just of the flag, you know, but in what that red, white, and black represents, the people, you and me and everybody else that we know, Nana, Nin, and everybody in between. That man believes in us. Patriot is one of the reasons why so many people reached out to help you, Uncle Errol. Wow. Because everybody else, using the terms loosely, everybody else is seemingly in it for their own agenda. Everybody has a party financier. Everybody has something they want to get, something they want to take, some property they want, some business they want, some riches, there's something. Uncle Errol just wants Trinidad and Tobago's flag to fly high, and the people of Trinidad and Tobago to have a real best standard of living.
And be happy.
And be happy.
And be happy. I want that for you. I really, really, really want that. I want that now that people need tablet and thing that everybody have. And that some people are not left behind because of it. I know real poverty in this country, and I know people who study by the moonlight and pass their subjects, you know, and are lawyers today and so on. The people, we are too rich to be so poor. You know, we have too much money in this country for some people to have so little. It's just not right. And, you know, you could say it have opportunity and so on, but classes on a Saturday that are free is not an opportunity for everybody. That's an opportunity for people who could afford to even get there. That people can't get there. You know, so that people could benefit from that class, but they never learn to read. You know, so it can't only be equal, it has to be just. Equality, we don't need equality, we need justice. Because not everybody need a 10-inch block to stand on to see. Some people need a 2-foot block. And that's the country we have to build, and the region we have to build, that gives this person who has special needs, special privileges, and the people who are safe, give them still what they need. But we can't give everybody the same thing.
And that is, Uncle Errol, on the economic front. But, so on the economic front, like you said, we're too wealthy to be this poor. But you also see things in Trinidad and Tobago on the social, cultural, and talent front that so many other people just take for granted.
I just see the world through the eyes that God gave me to see, because I study talent searching or none of them kind of things. So, and you see too, I have this understanding for Zero, that in art, what we're doing here and all of this thing, and the people who designed that box for the camera and that t-shirt and these sneakers and thing, that art really communicates emotion, you know, and I connect with people on that level. So when somebody comes to me and I feel them, I know I have a sense of what to give and what to extend and what to expect, because a failure, you know, a seer and a failure is not about what you're saying to me. It's about that emotion that you're communicating to me. And when I feel you, I just do what I feel you need.
I've seen you speak at some TEDx talks before, and I've seen you speak to a young university audience, at one of them in particular. And I've seen you bring those students to tears at the end of that speech when you spoke about your love and passion for Trinidad and Tobago and how much you believe in local and how much you want to see, which is why Gayelle was born, how much you want to see our own selves on TV. Why must we be buying everybody else's culture? And Uncle Errol, there are so many people who have that capacity, that finance, that those resources to bring it together. But for some reason or the other, firstly, we're not seeing the talent that we're sitting on. We're not seeing that culture, arts, and entertainment is the next oil for Trinidad and Tobago. And instead, we want to absorb and adopt everything and everybody else's. Now, this is not a knock on, for instance, people who believe in Halloween, right? But before we celebrate Halloween, have you been celebrating Obia? Have you been celebrating all the folklore of Trinidad and Tobago? But we so want to adopt the Yankee and the foreign. I'm not saying don't take it. I'm not saying don't enjoy a little bit of everything.
Right.
But we can't just bypass Sukunyan, La Jables, and Papa Boa and everybody else and go straight to Pumpkinhead. We have it nicer. We have it nicer in this country, and that is all Uncle Errol has been saying for his life.
That's it. We have value and we are valid, and we don't need a validation from anyone else but ourselves. What we have is as great as and better than what other people have. And if only to us it's great, fine. You know what I mean? I hear so many people want to take whatever thing we have, so-called, whatever it is, on the international stage. My thing is just make your thing as good as you can. Who don't know about us, that's their loss. We don't have, everybody have to know about us. Who don't know, that is their loss. They will find out once we keep our heads down and make our craft, our food, our clothes, our music and everything as best as we can.
I need a favor from you, Uncle Errol, which is that, you know, I think it was after the oil boom of the 80s, there was a mass migration of people from Trinidad, a brain drain. People were leaving, and there were some singers who all came together to encourage people to come back to Trinidad and Tobago. You know, we will make it out of this together. And it seems as though, I'm not sure if these statistics could prove it, but the talk around the town is that some people, pandemic, economic, politic, and all the other icks,
All the icks.
right? Some people are talking about migrating, about leaving, about going here, there, and all other places. What would you say to these people, Uncle Errol, who really and truly, many of them, they have Trinidad and Tobago at heart, you know? What would you say to them to appeal to them to stay and use their talent in the land of their birth?
Well, first of all, you get your education, your love, your ground and your foundation here, right? And that has to be worth something. You know, a lot of places have free education and things, but you got yours here. And the economics of the thing, right? Because that is at the base of the panic and the epidemic and the need to leave. The economics of the thing is, if we're not buying Caribbean and buying TNT, we're supporting the economy that you go into. But when you go there, those people don't care about you in the same way, you know. And I'm not vexed with them for that. If we're not from there and you don't like us, or we are second grade citizens and things, I can't vex with you for that. But you see here, you may have a sense that you need to be somewhere else, but Trinidad and Tobago needs you. We need you. You see, my generation, we made a mess of it. I could accept blame with everybody else for that. But if we made a mess of it, right, that's our fault. But if you let it continue, that's your fault. So, man up, woman up, look at the situation, you have skills, you're bright, it's a new world, a new way of doing things. Bring what you have to bear, and let's keep this place as ours.
I don't think we could have asked for a more perfect and at the same time simple message. Uncle Errol, this is not a fancy studio. This is not
if
a
you
fancy
say so. My studio are no plexiglass.
It is not a fancy studio, it is not a fancy show, but I believe that the work is important. And I want to say this to the camera and to you, that there are some people in this country who have inspired me. And I don't know of anybody in this country, in my opinion at least, who is more patriotic than Uncle Errol Fabien. Wow. And I've made that known to you earlier today, and I wanted to state it for the record on camera. The work that you have done, Uncle Errol, I think has been greatly undervalued and underappreciated. The love that you have in your heart for Trinidad and Tobago has also been undervalued and underappreciated by those who have the power nationally to appreciate it. But you see what happened on the 1st of October is testament that it is not undervalued, it has not gone unnoticed, and it is not underappreciated by the thousands of Trinbagonians who see in you, Uncle Errol, the same thing that I see in you. You are a hero to this country, and if nobody has laid that title on you before, Uncle Errol, I want to say that you are my Trinidad and Tobago hero, Uncle Errol.
Thank you for saying.
And I started off by telling you that this is not a fancy studio or anything like that, because I was looking at Gayelle the other day and I realized, you know, the name of your studio is the Tony Hall Studio. Yeah. And I never, thought that, okay, this is a fancy studio, we could give it a name. But I didn't have time, but I guarantee you, Uncle Errol, that by maybe the next 3 or 4 episodes from now, I would like, with your permission, to start calling my Trini Inspiration Studio the Errol Fabien Studio. Uncle Errol, that is how much respect I have for you, the work that you have done for this country, and trust you me when I say that you are the greatest patriot of this country that I have ever had the opportunity and the privilege to know. Wow. I want from this day onwards, this studio to be called the Errol Fabien Studio, where all episodes of Trini Inspiration will continue to be shot. Because there is none more inspirational to the fabric of Trinidad and Tobago and the people of Trinidad and Tobago than this man whose favorite catchphrase over the years has always been just right. And he didn't give me the just right yet to accept it, but I hope it would come.
Just right. Just right. Wow.
I will take it. I will take it. So
it's a
somewhere,
rare privilege.
Somewhere on this wall, in the future,
incredible honor. Thank you very much.
The pleasure is ours, Uncle Errol. Wow. Somewhere on this wall, we will have that plastered, and somewhere on that door, when we get the door changed, we will have that labeled on the door, so everybody will know that they're walking into the Errol Fabien Studio. Uncle Errol, before we wrap up, however, that was supposed to be the note on which we wrap up, but before we wrap up, I just want to bring it back full circle, because, we can't have Uncle Errol in studio and not have a little talk, and I also want to say that, that why Errol Fabien, apart from the storyteller, the dreamer, the hero, the inspiration, the patriot, why Errol Fabien? Errol Fabien, the comedian. We can't leave that out of the equation. But I want to tell you that it's not just that simple. It's not just Uncle Errol made us laugh. Uncle Errol connected us over laughter, but Uncle Errol used his comedy as an art form, as a tool by which to inform Trinidad and Tobago of other social issues and other social disparities, for want of better terminology. I remembered a piece that you did talking about why you want to be rich. I don't know if you can remember it.
I remember it.
You can remember it?
Yeah.
I feel Trinidad and Tobago deserve that because, let me intro this, right? This is the piece that I felt that really, in comedic fashion, informed Trinidad and Tobago of the disparity between the rich and the poor. And it's so ironic that this disparity existed however many decades ago when Uncle Errol first told this bit of humor. And that disparity still exists today. So we go on, but we really go on anywhere. Why you want to be rich, Uncle Errol?
Because they treat you different. I want to be rich. Because when a poor man go by the races and lose his money, they say, look at him, he's a gambler. When the same thing happened to a rich man, they say, he had a bad day handicapping. So I want to be rich, because they treat you different. If a poor man have more than 5 children, they say he breeding children like rabbit. If a rich man do the same thing, he's blessed with a large family. So I want to be rich, because they treat you different. Let me tell you, after a poor man drink a set of, they say, oh God, he vomit down the place. A rich man had an attack of chronic biliousness. So I want to be rich. I tell you, 2 children were drug addicts, one from a rich family, one from a poor family. You know what they say about the poor child? He's nothing but a old addict. He ain't going to do nothing else with them, so but to shoot them. The rich child had a touch of chemical dependency and was in need of rehabilitation. So I want to be rich, because they treat you different. I went by the General Hospital, and it had 2 boys there with breakfoot in the hospital. One from a rich family, one from a poor family. When the mother, the poor boy walk in, the doctor say, madam, your child foot break. We're going to put it in a cast. When it in the cast, keep him off the foot. When they take off the cast, let him walk around plenty, go heal fast. When the rich child's mother came in, the same doctor said, madam, your child's tibia has been severely traumatized, resulting in a fissure. The limb must be encasted, and during that period, elevation is required. When, however, we remove the cast, physiotherapy will be necessary for a speedy recovery. Why? I want to be rich.
It is on that note that I would like to thank Uncle Errol Fabien, who even when he was doing his comedy, used to fly the flag of the red, white, and black of Trinidad and Tobago all over the Caribbean and the world. His comedy has taken him all over the world, and no matter where he went, he always let people know that he represented Trinidad and Tobago, and he is not just a Trinbagonian, but somebody we could describe as a quintessential Caribbean man, because everywhere he went, he didn't just rep for Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, this is his home country and this is his love, but he repped for the Caribbean people as well, because you see all these small islands in the archipelago, pandemic hit. Who there for us? Who fighting for us? And we had to form our own bubble and now fend for we own self. So the same message that he has been preaching for decades on end has come full circle, and now we're waking up and wringing our ears and wondering, oh gosh, why we didn't listen. And I hope that we don't have to have this conversation in a few years' time from now again. I hope at the very least that by having Uncle Errol on the show today, we could learn we lesson. He could say, let it end with this generation. Let not 2 generations make the same mistakes. Uncle Errol, I thank you sincerely. There's so much more we could talk about.
So much. I should thank you, Fazir. This is a singular honor and an amazing gesture. And let Allah continue to richly bless you and this studio and all the things that pour out of it.
Amen. Thank you very much, Uncle Errol. This is a very special presentation, and quite honestly, one of the presentations that I am most delighted about, being able to sit and chat with Uncle Errol. And I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope that for the generations who are younger and don't necessarily know or have never connected with Uncle Errol before, I hope that this episode has provided you with some insight as to why Errol Fabien. Why is Errol Fabien quite possibly the most loved, adored, and respected man in Trinidad and Tobago, who has quite publicly received the love and adulation of the wider TNT, of this beautiful Twin Isle Republic. Why Errol Fabien? Because he's a storyteller, he's an A-class comedian, he is a dreamer, he is a hero, he is an inspiration, and he is a patriot. This is Trini Inspiration, episode 8. Thank you. Until next week, Monday, God willing. Bye-bye for now, and God bless.